Good afternoon, Advocate Magona-Dano.
Good afternoon, CJ. Good afternoon to
How are you, ma'am?
commissioners. I'm well, thank you, CJ. And how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. You hold, among other degrees, LLM labor law.
That's correct, CJ.
Did you get the opportunity to put the labor law to use in your practice?
Not as much as I thought I would, CJ. So it's good on paper, not much on practice. Probably just a handful of cases that I had to appear in labor court, the briefs.
Did you get to act in the labor court?
No, CJ.
Now, you were a prosecutor for some 8 years, am I right?
That's correct, CJ.
More, and have been a member of the Cape Bar for over 11 years.
That's correct, CJ.
How did you manage to get yourself admitted to the English bar, so to speak? Or am I confusing you with someone else?
How did I manage to get myself admitted?
Yes. Maybe I'm confusing you. No, I think I may be confusing. No, I'm confusing you with someone else. It's okay.
Probably.
Sorry,
you've acted as a judge, have you not?
Yes, I have, CJ.
For how long?
When I calculated, it is 25, just over 20 weeks, give or take. It's since 2015. Sorry, CJ?
Yes, please continue. I'm sorry.
Yes. Since 2015, I did a term, 2 terms. 2016, I did 3 terms. 2017, I did 2 terms. 2020, I did 2.5. So that's about 9.5 terms when I calculated, about just over 20 something weeks.
Was produced. Yes, carry on, ma'am. Please carry on.
No, I'm just saying my calculation may be wrong, so I mustn't be taken that it is law.
Sure. Was it ever a challenge to you to deliver a reserved judgment within 3 months?
Most of them I've delivered them within, but I've had a few Chief Justice, I must say, that have crossed by a week or 2 at times, and sometimes due to just work pressure or wanting to really form my decision properly. And yes, I think I've given also on my application some of those reserved judgments that were listed there. They are no longer reserved. I've delivered those judgments since between December and February this year. I can take you through the dates if that would be required.
No, you don't have to. Thank you, ma'am. Yes, but litigants never had to wait for 6 months or 1 year for your judgment.
No. Oh, no, CJ.
Well, just in passing and very quickly, many women advocates come and go. How did you survive? What advice would you give to those that are yet to join? What survival strategy, if any, would you give to those that are yet to join the bar?
You know, it's hard. It can only be by grace, Chief Justice. But I have been so fortunate that I was vocal when there weren't any briefs coming my way. Since I'm a member of the BLA, as I've indicated in the application, I have, with a committee that I was part of, we've approached the State Attorney's Office, which is, the biggest litigator in South Africa. So I've been vocal. I know a lot of people are vocal as well, but unfortunately they are not heard. Perhaps whilst we have the ministers and others here, perhaps something needs to be looked at how there is a check and balancing system that really works to make sure that there is real work that goes to female advocates, especially female Black advocates, and that they are given an opportunity to really work with the work. So I've been fortunate. There has been ups and downs myself. I've cried with some of my colleagues who would come in my chambers, telling their story of how hard it is. Some have left the bar. It's not easy, Jason.
Is it fair to assume that even if you were to be appointed a judge, you would not abandon the cause of pleading or pushing for women practitioners, for Black practitioners to get work, quality work?
If this office of the CJ would allow me the judiciary, I certainly wouldn't. I think it is for us who are ahead not to forget the ones who are behind. That is me accepting that it would be a promotion if I would be appointed. It is of necessity that if one climbs up the ladder, you do look down and pull others up within the legal means. So I certainly wouldn't if I would be given that opportunity, certainly.
Thank you. Colleagues, let me have the names of those who have questions for the advocate.
Jenny Kane and Maya after Commissioner Kane, CJ.
I've got you, President. Thank you.
King.
Breitenbach, please, sir.
Honorable JP, over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Chief Justice. Just as a point of correction, it is not this particular candidate who is a member of the English bar. It is...
Yeah, I noticed that. I noticed that. Thank you, JP. Thank you, sir.
Perhaps let me confirm that Ms. Magona is true. She has acted in the Western Cape for, I think, altogether 9 terms, or for a period just in excess of 9 terms. On each one of those occasions, I had invited her to act. And also, I would like to confirm that I know her. I consider her to be a friend and a sister to me. We have also interacted through other structures such as PLA, of which she is a member. Other than that, at this point in time, Chief Justice, I have no questions for this candidate. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, Judge President. Honorable Premier.
Thank you very much, Chief Justice. Advocate, welcome. Thank you very much for being here. And I think I'm going to just ask you, first of all, the separation of powers, and specifically asking you on whether you think that the system is working well within our Constitution, as opposed to perhaps some commentators saying that there seems to be almost creep between, say, the executive and the judiciary, or vice versa. What is your feeling on that?
Good afternoon, Premier. Thank you for the question. The system of separation of powers, in my view, I do think that it is working very well in our country. It is good that there is a checking and balancing of the powers of the various organs of the government. That is the legislature, executive, and the judiciary. I cannot say that there is any encroachment, and whenever there is any actions by one of the bodies, so to speak, it must be within the means of the law. The Constitution has to be respected. We have to make sure that the public perception is kept in the positive when they look towards these three spheres. So the separation of powers in this country is working very well. Thank you, Premier.
Thank you very much, Advocate. If I can follow up, I also read, and I must commend you on what I read about your community upliftment and your training of the next generation of lawyers. That's well done. But my question goes to a comment as raised here, and I'd like just to get some clarity to say that there could be an issue around indebtedness to SARS. Could you maybe give us an update on what that position is?
Oh, it's, the question that always asks you if you want to disclose anything. My understanding, I might have misinterpreted it. I thought perhaps I should mention I am under a payment plan, which is something that is legally allowed within terms of our law. That's where I am. And I thought to disclose that out of transparency and being honest to the commissioners.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm covered, Chief Justice.
Thank you very much, sir. Advocate KNSC.
Thank you, Chief Justice. Good afternoon. What I would like you to please deal with is the criticism from your colleagues at the Cape Bar, essentially, that you are still relatively junior and that there is a question mark about the quality of your judgments. They seem to have the view that you require more experience, preferably in practice, prior to taking a judicial appointment. Could you allow us to have your insights on that view?
Thank you, Commissioner, for that question. I must say, one must not, or at least I come from that point where I'm not saying I know it all. It is good to hear from the colleagues. I think this is an opportunity that allows one to grow. So the comments from the GCB are welcomed by me. Commissioner, I would say the issue about relatively junior, I need more experience. I am ready. I appreciate their views. The rest are positive from what I could gather. And others, they could not comment, which I would ask this commission to then accept them as positive. So most of their comments are good comments, and I appreciate them. I think my being a junior is to say I'm ready to being a justice. I've written judgments. When I calculated, Commissioner, it's about close to 180 of these judgments I've written. I've heard some that went to the SCA on leave to appeal, and I think I've attached some confirmed, and I will add when I'm given the opportunity that I was also advised by one of my colleagues, another judgment of mine where I granted leave to appeal that went to the SCA, which also confirmed. So I have two, one which was not. So there's something that I must be doing right. I'm not saying I know it all. I'm not saying my judgments are perfect, but it is the opportunity that the judiciary is given to us as Black females to expose us to these various subjects that we deal with in our judgments. That really just is like a breath of fresh air. And for me, I've given it my many years and I'm ready. I can learn anything else further within. I think the judiciary has the processes within it to empower people who need to be skilled, and I'm available to do that. I'm open to it.
Just to follow up on that, if you were not to be appointed at this stage and continued practicing as an advocate at the Cape Bar, would you continue to gain valuable experience there?
At the bar?
Yes.
Well, there are challenges at the bar currently. I don't think it is public knowledge with regards to Black female, as I've indicated before in briefs, that we comes in drips and drabs, really. So the experience would be there, but it's always focused. I'm more on civil cases, which I get, which I'm grateful for from the state attorney, a little bit of, so it would be a challenge. It wouldn't be the same exposure that I get within the judiciary, that I get to deal with the variety of issues. And I learned so much. I'm no longer the same. Whenever you read a case that you know it's an issues that you've never dealt with during practice, your mind is stretched to a point that you will never be the same. So going back, it will be going back to the same old practice, dealing the same old cases, no other exposure.
Yes, that's of concern. Thank you, Chief Justice.
Thank you, ma'am.
CJ, can I
Thank you so much, Councillor.
CJ, may I follow up?
Honorable President, is there a follow-up?
Yes, CJ.
Yes, Commissioner Matolo Depu.
Thank you, CJ. Good morning, Ms. Mahano. I just wanted to find out from you, I mean, what my fellow commissioner is saying. If you go to the Cape, you are going to be, I mean, it won't make a difference because they're not giving you briefs.
Yes.
That's basically what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying. Yes,
actually, you're sending you back to hunger more than anything.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
That's correct, Commissioner.
Can I make a follow-up on that, Chief Justice?
Yes, sir.
That's on the issue of lack of experience. I just want you to share with us, because I realize that that you played a part in the process towards the matter that dealt with the dissolution of the Scorpion and the formation of the Hawks and the principles around the independence of the Hawks in this matter of Glenister versus the President of the Republic of South Africa, which you have mentioned as part of your reference.
Can you refer me to page?
They say that as a junior counsel, you also appeared in the following cases that let me just check on the.
Sorry.
Yes.
I'm not familiar now with the name of the case.
Sorry.
Are you not confusing me with
my apology. My apology. My apology, Chief Justice.
Thank you, sir. The President.
Thank you, CJ. Good afternoon, Ms. Magona.
Good afternoon, President.
Are you related to the author Cindy Magona by any chance?
Yes, I am, President. She is my aunt.
Please tell her that I think she's a phenomenal woman and I'm a big, big fan. I have all her books.
I will certainly pass that message. If she's not watching right now, I'll certainly pass it to her.
I hope she is. You've been described as a kind person of integrity by the GCB, by the way. And speaking for myself, I think those are some, if not the most important qualities in any human being, especially a judge. But then there are these other concerns
Yes.
about your technical competence, and I'm satisfied with the answer you've given.
Thank you.
But I just want to follow up on something that was raised by the Premier about your situation with SARS and the banks.
Thank you, ma'am.
The actual concern there is that you are seemingly financially unstable, and that may be, I think it's a valid concern which you should address. Being in a financially, palace situation is risky. A hungry man may do things that are out of character. A hungry woman may do things that are out of character just to survive. So the concern is that that situation, has the potential of compromising your judicial independence. Can you give us an undertaking here and now that that will not happen? We will not hear that you took a bribe under the table so that you could send your child to school or meet some financial obligation or the other.
Thank you, President, for that question.
If you are appointed, that is.
If yes, certainly. President, I am centered in God. In fact, I fear God, revere God. I have principles. I'm a principled woman with integrity, I've been blessed that wherever I walk, I don't think only of me. I represent females, Black females. I love this country. I love our constitution. I'm dedicated to upholding the flag of this country. So all of that can never be part of me, President. The circumstances I am in was just to be honest with this commission. But I've lived all my life honestly and with integrity. So I'm making that undertaking. You will never, not a single person will even try to approach me, because as I have been told by colleagues, it just comes out of me that no one will just come and try to even think of doing such things, approaching me to take bribes. I know you make an example, but it will never, that will never happen with me. Thank you for that question.
Thank you, Ms. Magona. Thank you, Chief Justice.
Thank you, President. Honorable Singh.
Thank you very much, Chief Justice, and good afternoon, Advocate Magona.
Good
Chief
afternoon,
Justice, may I just
Commissioner.
find out if you have got my name is Madonzala. I seem to think I may have been before the president, and even before Tsepe, but
I had missed you out, sir. You'll be last. I'm sorry.
thank you.
Sorry about that, Commissioner Matonsela. I said good afternoon. I see that you list in item 10 matters that you regard as significant, an issue there, and then it's also included in our pack, the case of Buania. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that or the B is silent.
Yes.
Buania and the Master of the High Court,
Yes, sir.
which is listed as a significant judgment of yours. And, you know, we come across these kind of matters sometimes in the various communities that we interact. Now, when I read that, I just felt, Honorable Advocate, you know, the court was really saved by the bell, if I may say so, because there was a last minute agreement by most of the respondents and the applicant. And I was just wanting to ask, if that agreement didn't take place, what kind of judgment would you have given? Because this matter has now, the other aspects has been referred to the apex court, or you say some of these items that are contained in the ISA and the MSA are unconstitutional. So can you just take us through your reasonings for your judgment, and also the comment that I make that, you know, one was saved by the bell with the agreement? Thank you.
Commissioner, I appreciate the question. As a lawyer, but the principle is when your matter is in front of a superior court, the apex court in this regard, you are not, you ought not to discuss it any further until that court has reached a decision. I would love to engage with regard to this judgment and for this commission to know where my thought was. I don't know if I'm answering you, but because it is still before the senior judges at the Constitutional Court, we are expecting a judgment. One cannot discuss it any further, especially come to think of a different view, which may just confuse even the members of the public who are waiting on this judgment. And at the same time, not to be seen as if I'm trying to influence further. I've written the judgment, and it is now before the honorable judges at the Constitutional Court. So one cannot take it again and say, let me see what I can redo. So it's based on that principle that I would respectfully request that I not be requested to make any further comments about the matter whilst it's still pending.
No, Advocate, I appreciate your position, because perhaps the Chief Justice will be sitting also considering this matter at some stage.
I think, if I recall as well, Commissioner, I think he is one of the judges. You might not, Chief Justice, you may correct me. He might be sitting in that matter.
All right, just to ask you outside of the case, but sort of related, you know, there is a concept, and you've quoted it there, and you've quoted another brother of yours, where he says the fact of living together is not the end all and the be all. Will you express a view on that? I mean, is there a time period for people to be living together with each other, for this principle of law to apply? You think you don't want to answer that as well, or just your view?
It's really crossing on the issues that were before that court, which I commented on. You probably are talking about common law marriages, which we don't have in South Africa. But again, it's issues which are in that case. So I would rather err on the side of caution and not extract certain aspects of that case and discuss it in the public sphere. Yeah.
No, thank you, Advocate. Chief Justice, we look forward to your court considering this matter, and then I can ask more questions. Thank you.
Thank you. For what it is worth, Advocate, I can tell you, we don't find it to be an easy matter either. Commissioner Tsepe.
Chief Justice Magona-Dano. I wanted to.
No, you are. No. Because I had missed you, Advocate. You'll come last.
I was saying that I was asking that you should remove my question related to the very same question.
Oh, I see. Okay, sir. Thank you so much. Commissioner Tsepe.
Thank you, CJ. Good afternoon, Advocate.
Good afternoon, Commissioner.
My other question has been asked, so I'll just ask you only one question, and it's over and above the time you have spent acting as a judge in the Western Cape Division. What other adjudicative experience do you have that you believe is relevant for your work as a judge were you to be appointed, and why do you think so?
Thank you, Commissioner. I think in my CV or in the application form, I can't recall now, I've indicated that I am currently a commissioner in the Cape Town High Magistrates Court, appointed since about 2014. So there, as you know, you get to adjudicate matters in terms of the small claims court. I have sat as a chairperson in various labor law disciplinary matters. I think I've mentioned also that. I've also, I've also been invited by my university for a couple of times to sit as an acting moot court judge. So that's again an opportunity that I was given to use the skills and look at issues differently and approach it with the students. And you have members of the public at the small claims court, and you have a chairperson of an institution, I think it's the Office of the Sheriffs, where I had to decide on various disciplinary hearings that they had. I've also mentioned that. So it has given me much experience. It assisted me over the years. Yes.
Thank you, Advocate. Thank you, Chief Justice.
Follow up on this issue.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Tsepe.
Follow up on this issue,
Rob,
Chief Justice.
Is there a voice?
Yes, Sigogo, Chief Justice.
Is there a follow-up, or should I simply list yourself?
It's a follow-up, Chief Justice.
Please go ahead.
Thank you. How are you doing, Advocate Magona?
Good afternoon, Commissioner Sigogo. I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I thought when you are talking, you were talking about the issue of you sitting as a judge in moot court. You will as well indicate to this commission that you have sat in a similar situation in the United States of America, where you were judging for moot court. And fortunately, I was present in that session. Can you share with the commission?
Oh, yes, thank you. Thank you for reminding me, Commissioner Sikoko. We went as the delegates of the BLA to the USA, and the National Bar Association there invited me to form part of the moot court judges. We were a panel of 3, and we would have students from their high school. They were given a topic, various topics, and then they would come in and present their cases to us, just as similar as moot courts here in our country. So I was given that opportunity. I think I've also mentioned the details in my application, and it was just good as well. That's just stretched me because a different system of law, of course, language, but I enjoyed that and the opportunity that I was given.
Thank you, CJ.
Thank you, sir. Prof.
Thank you, CJ. To your right, ma'am.
Yes.
Good
yes.
afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Would you mind to share your judicial philosophy with the Commission?
Prof, I think one must be ready to dispense justice without fear, prejudice, and favor. That is our constitution. So that's my philosophy. Look at a case, not the parties, look at the issues. The term feeler, coincidentally, Prof, we were taught by our professor in UWC, facts, issues, law, and application. So you then apply that law without fear, prejudice, or any favor. That's my philosophy. And it's important, as busy as one can be, or a lot of matters you may be allocated, to try and expeditiously deliver that matter. And research, learn, read as much as you can, because you might be dealing with issues you may not know of, or receiving for the first time, but you learn, you eat it, so that you can understand exactly what you need to do at the end of the day to resolve the dispute or the issue just between the parties. That's my philosophy, Prof.
Thank you. And what role does your judgment play in the development of the law?
Prof, I hope it has, especially we are waiting for Puanya case. We are waiting for, each case will have to be judged by its own, the rulings that I've made on them. We have to, they speak to the issues that come with that particular fact. So the role that it would play to the development of the law is, I am subjected to the Constitution. I would have to interpret and translate that judgment on the issues whilst I am being guided by the Constitution and the laws that are relevant to that particular case. If there needs to be a development, one will have to act on it, but the interpretation of the law is important and the application of it to the issues is important, Prof.
Thank you, CJ. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Honorable Breitenbach.
Thank you, Chief Justice. Good afternoon, Madam.
Good afternoon, Commissioner Breitenbach.
I have just one question for you. What are your views with regard to a judicial officer who has been found guilty of gross misconduct linked to underlying dishonesty continuing to sit on the bench?
I have no views, Commissioner Breitenbach.
Thank
currently.
you.
Are you done, Honorable Breitenbach?
Yes, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Advocate Magona-Dano, thank you very much. I can't emphasize enough that Jane Branya matter is very complex for us. You really were grappling with difficult legal issues. You're excused.
Thank you so much, Chief Justice, and I thank you every commissioner and the president. Thank you.